So then the types and styles of writing the lead. As I said, so lead answers the 6 questions, and there are certain limitations also. Lead has to be completed in about 40 words. So what kind of emphasis that what we are putting on a particular lead, so that depends on that form of lead. For example, what lead? So what has happened? So people want to know the incident. What is that incident? For example, if a school which is achieving cent% results over a period of time, so now the environment created by a team of teachers in that particular school makes the news. So it means the emphasis will be on the event. What is that event? The environment, what the teachers have created, because of which the students' performance over a period of time is consistent, and every student is getting 100 out of 100 in so many subjects. So that is what is the emphasis. So this is what is the meaning of what lead. Then when lead. So in some cases, the timing of the event is very, very important. When the event has happened. For example, yesterday it was a Sunday. So Sunday night, so when the Indian army was protecting the borders, so against the Pakistani infiltrators, at the same time China also made an attempt to invade. So all these events happened at what time? So when the event has happened, so that is where. So that is why we are beginning the lead with the note that yesterday evening or yesterday night, midnight, whatever it is, the time has the importance here. So that is the most critical aspect. Then where? So where the event is being happened. Where the event is being happened. So in Varanasi yesterday, that temperature was almost 0 degree centigrade. In the last couple of decades, so this was the lowest temperature the city has witnessed. So it means that now the emphasis is on the city, the place where the event is happening. Then why lead? So why a particular thing is happening? Why a particular thing is happening? For example, because of the global recession due to pandemic, so many software professionals moved from USA to their native places. For example, we can say that the software engineer from US moved to his native place in Karnataka. So now he is involved in organic cultivation of vegetables, fruits and all those things. So now the emphasis is on the event. What is the reason behind leaving a particular individual a country? So the pandemic is there, and because of that there is a global recession. So now the entire focus is on the logical reasoning. Then in another case, the individual who has achieved something becomes more important. For example, just an hypothetical name, Dr. Ashok Singh. So who did a lot of research on cancer, and at the age of 84 still he is continuing with the research. So the entire emphasis is going on a particular researcher named as Dr. Ashok Singh, and he has been awarded with so and so award, and at the age of 84 still he is pursuing the research on cancer. So who is that person? So that makes a lot of difference. Then how the event has happened. So what is the logic, means how the event has happened. For example, so India is winning a gold medal by defeating America or Australia over a period of time. So now the emphasis is on, so whether they are winning by 5-0 or 4-0 or 10-0, whatever it is. So how the event is being happened. So that is what is the emphasis, and that becomes the how lead. Then coming to the styles of writing the lead. The first thing that we come across is the summary lead. The title itself is self-explanatory, wherein we are trying to say that everything that what we are trying to say in 40 words, so that makes the summary. What are those questions that we need to answer? All these questions are already mentioned here. What, where, when, why, how and by whom. All these questions are answered in case of this summary lead, wherein we are trying to provide the answer. And this makes the reader whether to go ahead with reading the entire news story or not. The second style of writing lead is the suspended lead. So this is having all the features of summary lead, but in addition we are trying to provide certain more information because of the limitation of the space or the time. We are intended to complete the entire story in one small paragraph. So that is why it is having an extension beyond the 40 words by explaining the event that has happened. Maybe it is what, where, when, what is more important, that depends on the situation, and accordingly we are providing the information. Then The question lead. So this is the most emphatic way of writing the lead. Rarely we find this type of leads in the daily newspaper, but when we raise the question, so when we raise the question for which a reporter needs to prepare himself a lot, because he should have the sufficient review of literature, he should have sufficient information, then he can raise the question. Because the government keeps on claiming that we have spent so many rupees on this aspect, and so much is being spent on this aspect, and etc., etc. Now the question is, even after spending this much amount, so what is the change that the city has observed? What is the change that the institution has observed? So this type of questions that what we are raising in the lead itself, so that makes the reader to go through the entire news story. So that's what is the importance of question lead. Then coming to the quotation lead. Quotation lead, generally a famous personality or head of the institution or head of the country or the state or the international organization. So whenever such people makes significant comments on a particular issue, so that makes the quotation lead. For example, even today that quotation is being quoted by Rajiv Gandhi, when he said, when he was a prime minister of this country, when he said, when we send 1 rupee from Delhi, when it reaches the ultimate end user, so only 15 paisa is reached. So that is what is the incidents which depicts the administrative loopholes, so that were in our system. So that is what was the emphasis that the Prime Minister wanted to highlight, and that is how it became a quotation. And even today after lapse of around more than 30 years, even today that quotation is relevant and that is being used. Then we just now come to the basics of news writing. So when you are writing a news story, you have a perspective. What is that perspective? Because you are looking at that particular incident, that particular event that happened, so maybe in your presence or maybe in your absence. So you are looking at it from a perspective, and accordingly, so you are making the news. Accordingly, you are making the news. The news story always focuses on the current issue. So because the event which has happened in the recent past, so time is one of the important element. So if you are going to lose the time, so the entire event is going to lose its news value. So that is how we are coming across the concepts like breaking news, big breaking news in the media. So because they wanted to capture the time earliest possible, how early I am in reaching my audience, my receivers. The nut graph is the paragraph which follows the lead of a news story. It is also, its full form is nuptial paragraph. So wherein, so we are giving the breaking news, but in breaking news only few sentences are covered, only the main event has happened, but why that event had happened, when that event had happened, why, how that event had happened, who are behind that event, all those things are explained in this nut graph, Then without this nut graph, the news story creates a lot of confusion and ambiguities, because you raise the aspirations of the viewers, the readers, but you are not supplying the appropriate information in addition to that. So then that is why it is going to create ambiguities or a lot of question marks. A news story is not worth publishing if it praises or condemns one item or one company or over the other, or you are promoting a particular organization or an corporate or whatever it is. So such things should be avoided and it is not worth publishing. So these are some of the basic things that we need to keep in the mind while writing the news. So this is what is a very familiar structure for all of you, the style of writing the news. So wherein we say that it moves from the most important facts to the less important facts. This helps the editor to edit. Even after editing, the news is not going to lose its news value. So that's what is the basic thing. The first one is, as we said, it is the lead, obviously. Then the second, the most important facts. Then as we move down from top to bottom, so it is going to, the importance levels are going to be reduced. So depending on the time or the space, the editor is going to make a cut. Whether if he cuts at this point of time, so at this part, again the entire news is going to retain its news value, or even if he makes cut at this point, again the news is having its news value, because we have covered all the most important aspects in this area. So this is what is the thing that we need to keep in the mind while writing the news story. Then the types of news writers, because sometimes you come across a the terms like reporters or the correspondents or the stringers or the freelance writers. What is the difference between these people? So let us look into them. Reporters are employed by a news organization. They report the news to the newspapers or the news agency. They collect information from various sources, and this is what is the routine job of the individuals who are employed for the purpose, whom we identify them as the reporters, news reporter of a particular organization or a particular newspaper. Then the correspondents are the specialized professionals in particular domain. So we have, for example, agricultural correspondent. It means he has a specialization in agriculture. So that's why the discipline of agriculture journalism is coming up. So, and the sports journalism, medical journalism, educational journalism. So all these are the people who are having their domain knowledge. It is expected that I, being an expert of agriculture, people are expecting a lot of inputs related to agriculture and allied sciences from me. And if somebody is specialized in sports, so he is going to deal all the sports related issues. So like that, so we have the correspondents who have a particular domain with them. Then the stringers. So stringers are the freelance reporters, because that depends, maybe a professional, maybe a student, or maybe a doctor. So they can also write so many articles for the benefit of the people to educate them. So they are identified as the stringers or the freelance reporters.